Hi, OJ. Let me tell you something that would shake you to the core. When you kneel in prayer, when you lift your hands in worship, when you empty your pockets in offering, who exactly are you worshiping? The truth I've learned the very hard way. The things that happen behind the pulpit, or let me say, on the pulpit before the sermons are preached and the miracles are done. This will shock you. I once stood on a pulpit, eyes bright with zeal, heart pounding with purpose, fresh out of seminary. I believed ministry was about healing souls, guiding the lost, and spreading salvation like a balm over wounded hearts. I was ready, ready to serve, ready to lead, ready to make a difference. Then I met him, a man of influence and of power, a senior pastor whose name commanded respect, whose words carried weight, whose presence alone could make the room fall silent. When he asked me to join his ministry, I felt honored and chosen. He promised to mentor me, to mold me into a true leader of the flock. What I didn't know was that the flock was not being led to green pastures. No, OJ, they were being led to the slaughter. Their faith twisted into shackles, their devotion turned into currency. At first, the lessons seemed simple: how to engage a congregation, how to deliver a powerful sermon. But soon, I realized his teachings had nothing to do with God and everything to do with control. The first thing he taught me was how to manipulate emotions. He showed me how to craft a sermon that preyed on people's deepest fears and insecurities. Make them feel guilty, he said. Make them feel unworthy. And then offer them salvation, but at a price. It was a masterclass of psychological warfare. I watched him weave guilt into his words, tightening it around the congregation like a noose. He would say things like, "You know the sins you've committed in secret. You know the lies, the betrayal, the shame. How can you ask for God's blessings when you carry such burdens?" And just when the weight of their guilt become unbearable, he would strike. "There is a way out," he would proclaim. "Give to God. Your sacrifice will set you free." OJ, I watched people who barely had enough to eat reach into their pockets, digging for whatever money they could spare. Some gave their last coins. Some went home to empty cupboards, believing they had bought divine favor. It's at this point that I ask that you subscribe to the channel, share a comment, or click on the like button, as that is the only way you encourage me to bring you more confessions and more stories. So please, subscribe. Let's go. But it wasn't just guilt. No, my mentor had another weapon, something he called the emotional roller coaster. One Sunday, he would preach fire and brimstone, leaving the congregation trembling, desperate for redemption. The next Sunday, he would shower them with promises of breakthrough and prosperity, dangling hope just out of their reach. The cycle never ended, OJ. Fear, relief, guilt, redemption, despair, euphoria. And through it all, one message remained constant: give, sacrifice, and obey. And they did. Oh, yes, they did. But the worst of it, OJ, the miracles. I remember one Sunday, a woman came forward, a woman known for her chronic illness, a woman who had suffered for years. The senior pastor placed his hand on her, closed his eyes, and declared, "You are healed." She collapsed, sobbing, lifting her hands in gratitude. The congregation erupted in applause, in tears, and in worship. They had witnessed the power of God, except they hadn't. Later, in the quiet of his office, he told me the truth. The woman had been planted, instructed to act out her healing. The miracle was staged. The power was a performance, and the people, they believed, they gave, and they trusted. OJ, when I tell that I have seen the inner workings of these so called men of God, believe me, I was there. I was trained in the art of deception. I was shown the blueprints, the tactics, and the tricks. And it doesn't end with words. There is another level, a deeper, darker foundation beneath it all. A power beyond psychological manipulation, a power that didn't come from God. But that, OJ, is a story for another day. For now, let this truth sink in. Many of the shepherds you trust are not leading you to salvation. They are leading you to servitude, not to God, but themselves. And the question you must ask yourself is this: when you kneel in prayer, when you lift your hands and worship, when you empty your pockets in offering, who exactly are you worshiping? We will continue this conversation, but until then, OJ, be vigilant. And before you accept any miracle of a sort, make sure you watch this confession.